Hi Adam, welcome here in the Nijmegen. How are you doing?
I am doing wonderfully. I'm really happy to be in Nijmegen. I'm at Frontier's European head office,
Yes.
and we are going to speak about firmware 8.5.2 on this special podcast, which is just going to be about the firmware.
Yes, so we decided this one we need to do in person because it's amazing and there's so much new things. How many pages of release notes do we have?
There is a lot. I think the whole release note goes on for about 19 pages. Some of those are the welcome pages, the
Yes.
ending pages, how to report your issues to Peplink. But for this firmware release, there's a lot. There's an awful lot on here, and it's really good. The only reason they know about these things is by the feedback from the Peplink community.
Yes, and it is an active community again. 15 pages, I believe, of literally release notes.
Yes, I think you're right, Joey. So we've picked some of our favorite ones from that list. We'll probably choose a few more as we go through. We'll probably have a quick look at the forum post that you put on as well, Joey, and see what's interesting other people in the community. But we should probably start.
Yes. Well, we should start with the additional or like the added feature that Peplink added into the new firmware. And that is, as probably everybody knows, it is the switch controller. So Peplink already has an access point controller, right? And now with the new switches and all of the features that people want to have been added to the switches. They cannot do everything at once, but they are improving every single day. So now they said, I think in end of February, they told us that they will do an 86 platform release for the Switch controller and then the ARM. So the 86 is, for example, the Balance 5000 here or the MBX. That is the 86 platform. There's those higher end devices. But they actually managed to put it on the ARM. The ARM chipset is the BR1 Pro 5G, the B1, the BR2. So they even overdid themselves on this one. So I'm really excited about this. And I had a really small chat with one of the Peplink engineers about it. And there is so much more to come in the next releases of the firmware about switches, switch controller. But talking about this one, the switch controller, you will need to have the switch firmware 2.0.2 as well to make it work because they need to communicate with each other.
Now, I've not had a chance to play with this yet. I know you have, and you've had a lot of success. How have you found it so far?
I think it's really interesting. It is it's different. I've not used much of the local management side of things on the switches. I always try to do this via in control because that is if definitely with larger deployments, it's super easy to use in control. But for the people that do manage one or two switches, I think this is definitely a really good additional to the firmware for locally managing one. And you don't need to have access to a second device. Let's say you're doing the freelance on your router, you don't need to go into a different web admin. So this is really nice. And I really think that this is an amazing addition to to the firmware.
So that's obviously the main feature that has been launched on 8.5.2.
Yes.
There's been a lot of improvements as well.
Yeah. Well, the list is long for this one. I think this is going to be the longest release notes that we have seen so far, right?
We never know.
But yes, that's true. Maybe Firmware 9? That will be
I think firmware 9.
I think that requires a whole audience here to
Yes. Maybe we can get somebody from the engineering team as well
Yeah.
to talk through a few of those bits because there'll be some interesting things in 9.
Yeah. Well, for now, one of the things that I was really interested in, of course, is Starlink. I'm really all about the Starlinks, right? So, and all the others as well. One of the things that I really liked about this one is the Starlink added display support for API proxy. So now you can even better manage all of the Starlinks. So let's say you have a deployment of 8 Starlinks or 12, as you have done, for example. Managing all of those Starlinks is really difficult. And if you can add numbers, for in this case, adding numbers to the support page. So you're in the URL of the web admin, you remove the index and you replace that with support.cgi. That is the support page. And thereon you can see the numbers now of the Starlink dishes with their API proxy stuff. So I think that's really good.
Cement that relationship that Peplink and Starlink have. They're continuing to develop stuff over and above what the Starlink app can do. And Peplink users are starting to become multi-Starlink users. They're not just using one Starlink, they're using 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
We had a really interesting chat with somebody earlier that's using 8 on a mine site somewhere in Australia.
Yes.
And they've got 250 users on camp. And the speeds that they're getting and how that is working is absolutely amazing. And that's all thanks to how Peplink works with Starlink.
Yeah, it's amazing. And it's also really, really enjoyable to see all those deployments. And I think that is a really, really good addition as well. And it makes life for support people easier. We always everybody who worked in support, IT support knows that everything that makes your life easier is a really welcome addition to anything. So that's really nice. Also, a really nice addition is the SNMP added support for SFP LAN.
That's a tongue twister, Joe.
That is, let me do that again. Well, another addition is the SNMP added support for SFP LAN ports. So SNMP now supports the SFP LAN ports on your Peplink device. So you can have your own management portal that you use, that you show to customers, for example. And now you can see the SFP LAN ports in there as well. So it's improving already on an existing stuff. So it's really nice. So there were a few of my highlights that I liked about this firmware release. So Adam, did you had any interesting ones?
If I told you about every interesting one that I saw, this podcast is going to last a day. Okay. So I'm just going to pick a few that have really excited me. I've been working a lot with FusionHub recently with Peplink, and there's a few extra things happening with that that's going to let you do more things. It's going to be a much more useful product. The one I've seen on here is the DHCP server that you can now use via BGP. And before, the DHCP server was only ever really available for remote users that connected back into a Speed FusionHub. But they're starting to open up that DHCP to other services that you might use on there. Because a lot of these services are software services that you're connecting remotely on. So a lot of these things are software services that you're connecting remotely on. And it's not designed for the LAN, but we're now connecting to these Fusion hubs on a cloud-based level, and we need to be able to access them using different resources. Hopefully I can speak about another one that we've been working on as well, which is another way we can use the DHCP with BGP, but I think that's probably going to be on the next firmware, but it is something I'm testing at the moment. Oh, cool. So that's quite exciting. They've put on there about an eSIM feature that they fixed. So there was sometimes a problem when you were installing buy your own eSIM, and they've gone and resolved that, and they have put in the release notes that you can only install an eSIM when you've got another WAN connection.
Yeah.
Which isn't totally true, because you and I have tested this as well. And as long as you've got on that cellular modem an existing eSIM, you can install a second eSIM as well.
Yeah.
And when I say eSIM or buy your own SIM, that also goes for the Peplink eSIM. Yes. So as long as it's currently running on a Peplink eSIM or buy your own SIM, you can actually install another eSIM without having to have an additional WAN connection.
Yeah. So you have eSIM A, and you want to add an eSIM B, you can do that without needing to have a fixed or a Starlink or whatever connection, as long as that eSIM is already active and has a connection, of course.
I mean, the other really cool way of doing it is deploying the eSIM from in control. And there's a way
wow.
to use the EID number, and I know we've tried that as well, and you can just put the EID number from the Peplink device, click on deploy, and it'll fire it down to the box.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's pre-existing, that's some other fun. And they've done a lot of work around the 5GN modem, which is a really good modem. They adopted it a few years ago as a modem. It was in a lot of the BR2s. I think that's the first time I saw it, and it was the speed of it was exceptional then. But 5G as a network is changing.
Yes.
And a lot of things they've been able to do with this modem is to bring it up to the spec of how the 5G cell network is changing. So you'll see a lot of changes, a lot of improvements, a lot of fixes. I mean, they call them fixes, but I think it's more reprogramming the modem so it'll actually work on the current cellular network system. And that's really excited me to see all of that. I know there's some GK modem stuff in there as well. This is a new modem which has just come out, based on a pre-existing vendor they've been working with. And certainly the Cat18 modems in the domes used to use the same vendor, and it was absolutely exceptional as a modem. So it just goes, you know, the equipment's not outdated. By bringing out these firmwares, we can then still upgrade them, still make them relevant today, and help them work with whatever new technology is out there.
Yeah, it's improving on an existing network literally by changing. So the like you said, the 5G area, the 5G world is changing every day. So Peplink needs to improve their modems as well. So they have loads of contact with the vendors, right, that they use in the modems, and those are pushing updates, and Peplink is pushing them to do more updates as well. So I think this is, like we see with Starlink, is a really good relationship with Peplink and Starlink. They also have really good relationship with all of those vendors, and that's why they can push out so many improvements on the 5GN modem in this case. So yeah.
And it's not just a 5GM modem as well. It's all the cellular networks, and you know, it's a global product. And there's always going to be different ways that different cellular networks work in different countries, and there'll be little different settings that need to be done. And I've read through some of these notes as well, and you'll see things specific to the Philippines, you'll see things specific to the Netherlands. But it's knowing that, and it's the feedback from the community that's important, so that they can go work out how to resolve it. And these often come out as little minor releases, don't they? Little special firmwares that we get. And those special firmwares are available to end users. You can get those through your partners. So you don't always have to wait until a full release like this comes out. It's not they've fixed it now. It was actually fixed ages ago, but it was in a special release. And I love how they've put in the notes now which special release actually resolves that issue.
Yeah, small improvements, and that is the crazy thing about this firmware as well. It's like so many small improvements. For example, you can now use the live.vodafone.pt, a APN that you use in Portugal. Stuff like that. There's so many small improvements. So, yeah, if you're having some sort of like, I don't know if this is really working well, let's go to 8.5.2, and there's so many fixes in there. It should improve.
So we put out a post on the forum, didn't we, Joey? And we highlighted to the community it's come out. We asked for feedback from other people to see what features they liked. And, you know, I'm just looking through a few here at the moment. And the first one that pops up on here is about the 310 5G fixing a stability issue. Do you know about this one?
Oh, yes, I do know. I had loads of partners of us asking about, hey, my 310 5G suddenly stops or reboots. So they have been really looking through this thing, because I think it's a really, really deep inside the Peplink device issue that they solve now. And that's credits to the Peplink team for fixing this, because it's really doing its job now. And we've been testing, especially with the 8.5.1 S013 that is in there. That was one of the first things that they gave us, that special firmware, and then the device run without any issues. So Really happy.
I think one of the hardest things about this specific issue is it didn't happen straight away.
Yes.
And the device could be fine for weeks, and then
Months.
suddenly something happens. And that's really hard to test and fix and to understand.
Yes.
8.4, I think, was stable.
8.3. There was a special one in the 8. So it's not the general release for 8.3.0. No, it was a special 8.3.0 that run really good on that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where they started to say, okay, this is what we need. How can we improve that and put it in the 8.5.1 firmware version? And they put a special build for that one out, and now it's generally it worked. It has been tested. It is a fix that solves this issue, and let's put it in 8.5.2.
I mean, looking at the low level of these special things, it was 8.5.1 that they look like they fixed it in. It looks like they probably waited a bit to actually confirm it is fixed. So I'm quite excited to try this. I think it's gonna resolve that issue.
So you have some balanced 310 5Gs laying around, right?
I do have one.
All right. So yeah, you can try it out, and yeah, I would say go to 8.5.2, not go for the special firmware, because then you have all the other nice features as well.
So is there anything else on the forum that you saw?
Well, so Peplink improves all the time, right? So they keep on improving themselves. And one of those examples is adding status Ethernet port supporting on the web user interface. So in this, what I noticed in this firmware as well is like there's loads of changes in the user interface. So it's not all like the 3.10.5G is an issue that was in the device itself. This firmware has brought us a lot of user interface additions, like things from the community that they were looking for, and Peplink added them in there as well. So every time you see a web GUI, web user interface on the release notes, it's a fix that probably came from the community. So really happy about that.
So Joey,
yeah,
what else have you seen in the improvements that excite you?
So one of the things that I'm really excited, and we talk about that later, is the Docker improvements. But the OpenVPN WAN has also been changed a bit. So now you can have multiple OpenVPN WAN connections on your Peplink. So normally it was just one, but now you can have multiple. Actually, I need to find out how much that is. What is the maximum? Maybe we can do that on the summit. We can set that up on the summit.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah.
We do like a bit of extreme testing, you and I.
Yes. Yeah, that's the fun stuff, right?
We definitely do. I mean, talking about extreme testing, we do love a VLAN as WAN. Yes. And the B1 now has another feature, doesn't it, for VLAN as WAN, or the license has changed slightly?
Yes. Now it's the prime care. If you have an active prime care, you have a extra virtual WAN. But if you need to add additional ones, now the one from the prime care will be stacked to the ones that you add. So you can have a maximum of 3. So now you just buy 2 of those extra licenses, and you have a 3 total as long as you have that prime care active.
So I said B1. I was totally wrong there. So it's any device that's a prime care device, isn't it? So the product code will have PRM, and you know it's a prime care device.
Yeah.
And this comes with a VLAN as WAN license. And if you bought 2 licenses, you would have 2 licenses.
Yeah.
But now it will include the existing VLAN as WAN license you get from prime care plus the 2 VLAN as WANs.
Yeah.
That's just sensible.
Yes. That's a really nice fix from Peplink. So I'm really excited for this one, Adam, the Docker one. So can you explain a bit on how that affects the B1?
Well, B1 is a powerful unit, isn't it?
Yes.
It's capable of a lot. I mean, you look at the throughput of the router just by itself, and that's down to the processing power.
Yeah.
And the one thing it was, well, not necessarily missing, but a nice feature to have would have been Docker. But there's no storage on there.
No.
It does have a USB port, though.
Yes.
And they have enabled it now so that with external storage, you've now got somewhere to put those Dockers and run on the B1s.
That is amazing. I'm really excited to test that one
Really
out.
excited. And we've been speaking to our friend over the other side of the pond, Peter West. I know he's been having some fun with Dockers over there. We've been sharing a few recently. He's got some really exciting stuff coming out, actually.
Actually, I hope he's doing a webinar on that, because that is going to be really, really nice.
Definitely. Definitely.
Yeah. So, yeah, this one adds another diversity to already a very diverse device, because the B1 has the B1 5G, the B1 4G as well, and the normal B1 without the cellular modem. So the device itself is already super flexible, and you have those dual WAN ports on it, and you can go up to 5 WAN ports with the virtual WAN license. So, and now you can even add a Docker container to it. It's crazy how much you can do in that one device. It's, you can add your Starlink, your other LEO connections. You can use 5G, and then now you can do as well a Docker machine. You can literally run a Linux on that. It's so amazing.
I mean, talking about that USB port that's on there, it's not just extra storage that you can add with it now as well. They've added support for Starlink.
Yeah, they do.
So, I mean, I think support has always been there on the USB ports. This is more going into the software itself and ticking the USB connection to say that it is a Starlink device. So come and do all the clever things you can do inside your box, please.
Yes. Adding more support to that WAN connection.
So it's getting a bit crazy how many WANs you could actually have on a B1. Maybe that's something we should do for the Global Summit as well.
Yeah.
Take a B1 and how many WANs can you do on a B1?
That's crazy. Yeah. Well, you can also synergize stuff on it. So you actually can create a lot. So we just need to know how much WAN. So I think that's a really good one that we can actually do a giveaway for. So in the comments down below, let us know how much WAN ports you think we can fit on a B1, and we might have a nice prize on the summit for it.
So the Global Peplink Summit is not long away. It's in May. It's April now. And there's not many spaces left from what I've heard.
Yes.
So you can still sign up. You can go to Peplink's own website. It's on the front page at the moment. You can sign up there. Partners should have had an email already. There's a link on there to sign up.
Yeah.
And of course, there'll be somewhere in the description down here to sign up as well.
Yes, I'll put that in. And also on the Peplink website, you can find the sign up page. There's a full landing page for that as well. And I'm really excited to meet everyone. And we will also do a live version of this Peplink podcast on there.
We will.
So that's going to be a really good thing. And of course, Peter West will be there. Captain Nick will do something special. So I'm really, really excited for it.
I think we might even end up with a few other special guests yet. I'm just working on that.
Oh, really?
I think it's going to be a fun live podcast. We're going to try and do it live as well. So if you can't get to the summit, you'll be able to watch in real time what's going on. We'll try and answer questions that we can. And that should be a really fun and live podcast. We've not done a live one before. This will be our first one.
So it's going to be so this is one of the first ones that we do in person. And now we're going to even do live. So lots of improvements. Yeah.
Well, thank you for listening.
Thank you for watching. And Adam, thank you for joining us here in Nijmegen. And see you soon.
Thanks, Joey.
Bye-bye,
everyone.